Okay, so we're only playing with the factory adjustment. So you can just see the end of the slot in here, and this is your adjuster bolt. So all we do is loosen these half dozen bolts and wind that concave this way. That's all we got to do.
How far the whole way?
As far as you can take it, but keep it parallel. So some machines, depends, there's differences in this H frame, and I have found some that have been bent and twisted by the way they've been welded up, but you'll find that the measurement will be different. So what I always do, I use an 81mm gauge, which is what the factory tell you to do, and I measure from the concave to the skin of the rotor, and I get it dead parallel in that 81mm, side on and bottom. I'll then come over and I'll measure this distance inside here with a vernier, and I write my number on here, and then I'll move it as far as I can get it, but keeping it parallel, and then I'll recheck it from the other side. So, and all it's doing is you're working within what the factory allow you to do, but all you're doing is moving your pinch point up on the left hand side, and you're increasing that surface area. And what guys who have done it or find or have found is if you were running it on 10 last year, you run it on 10, because that 10 gap is the measurement at the bottom, and because it's pivoted here and here, as you go down, this goes out. You still got that gap at the bottom, but we had a bigger gap to start with. Yep. And they still thrash exactly the same. So, but you just take all the load off.
So you're not running any flat bars at the front sections?
Flat bars cost you 10 litres of diesel an hour to run, and what does a flat separator bar do?
Slow the product.
But it also builds a dam. You've got a bulldozer in there, and it builds up a pile of material in front of it, and that pile of material traps everything in it, and it just grabs it and throws it out the back.
Yep.
So that 8240 I had all the trouble with. We dropped windrows, and you could pick the straw up and shake it, and it was just full of grain. No matter what we did, we couldn't get rid of it. So when we put the spikes in there, because they've got that little hook on them, that little tooth, what actually happens inside the rotor cage is the straw is coming through, and it grabs it and it twists it, and it flicks the straw like that, and it cuts a little hole in the crop mat, and in behind that crop mat, in that hole, the grain just comes out. It's just, it was like a silver bullet. It was like a game changer. Because it worked on the old headers, and everyone told me it wouldn't work on a flagship, and I just went, I'm going to try this. And the only way you do it is to try, have a play. But so many of them that we've done now that we know that works. So, and another one, we got two guys with two machines, or a guy with two machines working side by side. Go play with one. That's the key thing. So Dale Minchardon at Wongan runs two 8010s. One was pretty good, one was a bit of a dog. I moved his concave 5mm to the right, and the bad one overtook the other one, the better one. So what we've just done the other day, and he's running Redicop choppers on the back of them, but they don't have the internal chopper. They have a beater and a Redicop on the back. We're putting mills on the back of them, 2C terminators. And I've just done his whole concave and rotor shift only a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Brett, when you're moving to the right, can you stuff it up and get to the point where your rust bars actually hit your concave?
Oh, you've got to re-zero it again, Pete.
Yeah.
So, yeah, move it to the right, and then you're going to spin your rotor, wind your stop bolts back, bring the concave up till it touches, and then wind them down 2.5 turns, so that sets your preset clearance. And then away you go, re-zero your indicator in the cab. Everything works just the same as it did before. You don't have to change any of the settings. But what you'll find is that you'll run out of horsepower a lot later, you'll burn a lot less diesel, and your separation is greater. So you're doing all your thrashing here on that number one concave.
Yep.
And then you just let it all out after that.